Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the message. I'll come right out and say it. There are some guys that travel and they do sort of fornicate. And while I don't recommend it and I promote chastity and marital sex for you guys, I don't ask you if you fornicated or not. Sometimes I can go on the Passport Bros app or Facebook and I'll see some of you just confess to it or brag about it because we've been desensitized to fornication after growing up in the West. And there are quite a few of us that have this notion that people are out there screwing. And since people are out there screwing, they fornicate and they ain't got to pay no dowries or nothing. They just fornicating. There are quite a few of us that say, well, I'm not going to sit up here and pay a dowry if so-and-so gets to hit that for free. I'm not doing that. He got it free. I ain't talking to no daddies, no brothers, no nothing. I'm going to hit that for free. If anybody else can, I can. And I understand that notion. But I'll tell you this too, though, gentlemen. Some of you are sitting up here talking openly about fornicating with women that are Muslim. Cut that mess out. I'm not just talking about disclosing it. Cut out the fornication. If she's Muslim, she ain't supposed to be doing that. Don't help her. And some of you are going to sit up and say, oh, so now you sit up telling us to just turn down free coochie? Yes. I've been saying leave alone fornication for your own benefit. But it becomes deadly when you start to involve Muslim women in your fornication. If you're Muslim, you already know the rules. If you're not Muslim, you don't want to find out about the rules the hard way. And there are men, not only their brothers and their dads, but there are other men who simply, if they know that you fornicated, they will do certain things to you, and you can't scare them away from you. You can't terrorize them and make them rethink this or change it. They'll just think about how they're going to do it and get away with it. They're more determined if they know you did it. They're more determined to punish you for it than you ever would be to commit fornication with a Muslim woman. Some of you may be approached by women that are Muslim, and you wonder, well, what? She's coming on to me. She's approaching me. What am I supposed to do? And I would tell you, Kevin Samuels handled this pretty well. A Somali Muslima calling herself a feminist, or a feminist calling herself a Muslima, called in on his show, and he said to her, look, you Muslim, if you talk to me, you're supposed to have your dad or your brother or your husband present as well. What does that say about you that we having this conversation without involving any of them? Now, the truth be told, it's not wrong that she had a conversation about a particular topic, but what was wrong was that Kevin Samuels thought that she was in clear violation just by having that conversation. Now, her standpoint was in clear violation. No, her opinion, Islamically speaking, her opinion was not valid. It was not. She already signed the commitment and identified herself as someone that had signed that particular commitment. Nope, you don't get to promote feminism when you're Muslim. It's already been told to Muslims in the West that we don't get to promote chauvinism. That's already known. You ain't got to tell Muslim men, hey, ain't no chauvinism in Islam. Everybody has been told that already. You got to tell Muslim men Ain't no feminism. You got to tell Muslim women, especially in the West, ain't no feminism. That's what you got to tell people. Otherwise, what they going to do? So right now in the West, they're going to promote feminism and laugh about it. It's a big joke. So no. I'm letting y'all know right now, right off the bat, if you do something like that, it's not that I'm coming after you. I'm not making threats and I'm not talking noise and talking junk. I'm telling you ahead of time why somebody else might do it, why somebody else might go after you. And understand, you might realize that somebody's gunning for you. Let's say that you're in one of these areas where the Muslims are the majority and you go to the police. But the police are Muslim and they find out that even if legally speaking, they're supposed to look out for your safety, you're still being sought after by her brothers for an Islamically valid reason. They may very well put the religion above the law, which is the ideal thing to do for a Muslim. Now what? Your best bet is to not involve, if you're going to do something like that, your best bet is to not involve a Muslim woman in it. Now, some say, well, what about the Muslim guys that fornicate with non-Muslim women? Well, to tell the truth, that's not a very easy thing to do either. Not quite. It's not right when a Muslim man does that. I'm just saying it's a very difficult thing to do. I don't think it's that common. I just don't think it is. And when a Muslim guy does fornicate with a non-Muslim woman, he doesn't get away with it. You all might think he does. No, Muslim men marry non-Muslim women and don't get away with it. How you think they get away with fornicating with them? I met Muslim men that married non-Muslim women, had families with them, and they didn't get away with that. They paid for it as if they had done something bad. What the hell you think is going to happen when these guys are running around with a Catholic girlfriend and they just digging her out, fornicating? God let Muslim husbands suffer if they marry the wrong non-Muslim woman. You think he's out here protecting fornicators? So no, they don't compare. Absolutely not. And most Muslim men ain't fornicating because in addition to the fact that sex is not just readily available to men in general, the Muslim men are required to turn it away when it is offered freely without a marriage contract. And there are many Muslim men who avoid it. So they're to actively avoid fornication that gets up and runs away from them anyway. And so, yeah, some Muslim man is probably going to wait until he's married, then marry her, and then when they consummate the marriage, she ain't a virgin. And he may or may not know. But he's cheated now. He got to pay the dowry and she ain't no virgin. But he had to wait. And she ain't no virgin, but it's not because she was married and he died or she was married and she divorced. No, she ain't no virgin because she fornicated. Now understand this. You have isolated incidences of this, but Muslim men, collectively speaking, will not accept being cuckolded. Even if they were not married to the woman at the time, they would not accept this in mass. I wouldn't. Remember, I got a son. No one's going to sit up here and go violating or fornicating with all the Muslim women while these Muslim young men are holding it in and abstaining because they ain't married, only so that they can marry women that fornicated. Because if that's the only way to go about it, then when they fornicate with non-Muslim women that you're related to and you try to punish them for it, I would side with them. No, you are out here ruining their chances for an even fair marriage. Hey, look, what did you expect? Fair exchange is no robbery. Now, they'd be wrong for fornicating, but I wouldn't be willing to let any of you punish them for it. Because fair is fair. Leave them be. If you go to Malaysia, do not brag about fornicating with a Muslim woman. Now, if she's a Malay woman and she's a Protestant or a Catholic, I'm still not telling you to fornicate. I recommend you don't do it. But it's not really our business directly to get involved if the woman you lay down with is a Muslim, regardless of her ethnic origin, whether she's a Chinese Malay, Indian Malay, or Chinese Malaysian, Indian Malaysian, or Malay Malaysian. It doesn't really matter directly in our personal lives if she ain't Muslim. If she is, it doesn't matter what her origin is. Then it does involve us. It's nothing personal. It's just the rules. I said that I was going to tell you all about living abroad and what's best to do and what's not best to do, and that I was going to charge, generally speaking, for tailored advice like this. This involves your safety. I'm telling you this for free on YouTube, not on Buy Me a Coffee. When you fornicate, you're already running a risk when you openly talk about you fornicated here and there. You already are running a risk. Just openly talking about it. You're desensitized. But that's somewhat risky, period, no matter what the woman's beliefs are. But when you openly talk about fornicating with a Muslim woman, hell, if you don't talk about it and you do it and you get caught and discovered, you are gambling with your life. And understand this. When it comes down to that, you cannot come to me and say, hey, yo, Black Mind, listen, Jet Black, look, man, I'm SYSBM or I'm Passport Bro. Man, come on, man, help me out, bro. I'm going to tell you, no, I'm going to put God's revelation above this. Matter of fact, the tenets of SYSBM were co-written by a Muslim. And that's my stripe, SYSBM. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put God's revelation above this. And don't come to me and say, I put the pale Arab above, in front of my black brothers. Don't come along and say that. No, I put what was morally sound in front of what was immoral. That's what I did. That's what's going to happen. Regardless as to how I feel about you individually, personally, you fornicate with a Muslim and her family finds out about it, there is nothing I can say to convince them to leave you be. They're going to uck you up if they can catch you. That's what's going to happen. Maybe you live somewhere with a liberal and you want to say, well, you know, they ain't really sweating a religion like that over here. Well, you know what? There was a time in Turkey when they didn't care. You could darn near insult the religion and question it and call yourself a Muslim in Turkey. And you could smooth it over by saying, well, you know, I'm a Turkish Muslim. I'm a modern Muslim. You better not do that now. If they don't take their religion seriously, you know what? Let's say that they don't do everything that they should be doing. They smoke, maybe they even drink. But if you sit up and try to say that it is okay to drink, they will say, no, the hell it's not. And take their whiskey bottle and crack it over your head. Not for drinking, but for trying to act like it's okay. No, it ain't okay. They just did it. It's a weakness. Don't try to change the definition of what's right and what's wrong. Turkey now is not the same country it was when I first became Muslim. So when you sit up and say, well, you know, right now they don't really care, then what? You get into this whirlwind romance with a woman that's going to really look out for you, really take care of you. Then y'all marry, but then one day The country takes it more seriously and says, listen, this marriage is not valid because she's a Muslim woman and married a non-Muslim man. The marriage ain't valid. And if we catch y'all together by yourselves, we're going to flog you both for fornicating. But some places don't play that because I don't know what the exact Sharia ruling is on a non-Muslim man that fornicates with a Muslim woman, but some say that it is a capital punishment. Iran has a capital punishment for that. If you're a non-Muslim, but you fornicate with a Muslim woman in Iran, it's a capital punishment. They're going to put your butt on death row once you're convicted. You get a trial, but when you're convicted, you're on death row. There was a German man that was arrested for that, and he was fighting for his life. Now, I don't know what the case ended up being in later on, but he pretty much said, no, I accepted Islam. Then I fornicated. So, yeah, I'm a fornicator, but I'm not a capital criminal, meaning a potential death row inmate. So don't play around like that. Don't gamble. If there's something that you need to respect based on where you are, that's one of the main things, one of the first things you want to respect. I am Muslim. When I came to this country here in Saudi, I was afraid to look women in the face. Even when we spoke for a good reason, like it's business, or she's working at the hospital and I'm there getting a blood test done. Even then, I was nervous about looking them in the face. I would speak when they spoke, and for a good reason. I didn't mind being nice, maybe asking directions or something, but that was it. And I'm saying this as a Muslim man. I remember this man said, hey, man, teach my wife some English. Give her some lessons. And I straight said to him, I will teach your wife and your son. Bring them both in the room. And I did that way. I did it that way. That man did not mean any harm. His wife didn't mean any harm. But obviously, I didn't mean any harm either. I meant well. And they understood that. And some of you up here showing pics of women with their hijabs on. Yeah, man, they freaky in the bed. It don't matter. Number one, quit doing it and fuck the shuck up. If you did it, the best thing to do is fuck the shuck up and say, this is my friend. She was my tour guide or something like that. Because I'm going to tell you now, man, if you say that, if you do it, if you show a photo, I'm going to download the photo and I'm going to send it to my son. And I'm going to say, when you travel, wherever you go, when you see this woman right there, maybe she didn't do it, but maybe she did. Do not marry this woman if you ever see her. Keep the photo. Because when a Muslim woman fornicates, especially when she's fornicating with non-Muslim men, believe you me, she's going to turn around and do the exact same things as the Westernicians that you can't stand Westernicians for doing, and for which you leave the West in general. Now, she's going to already be that way anyway. She don't really need your help, but don't supply it. Because believe you me, when these women start to become feminists, but they calling themselves Muslim, yeah, they had help. And when they start saying, oh, I'm sexually liberated, they had help. Believe that. And what they do is they rack up bodies, and then they sit up and start talking about how much of a dowry they deserve in order to get married. But you know what it is. You know how they can't respect a man that's going to sit up and marry them. They're going to look at that man, and you know how it is with women. Even if she knows that the man doesn't know something, she might still not be able to respect that man for respecting her. A woman with bodies, and I'm talking a fornicatress, would look at a virgin man or a man that ain't never experienced another woman besides her and would say, even though that man don't know what I did before we got married, I can't respect him because he respects me. He's just not man enough. I'm more man than him. You know how they are. You gonna sit up and help these women against men that did nothing wrong except wait to get married? That's what we doing? The rules are in place for a reason. It's generally going to be for everybody's benefit. And this is one of them. You fornicate with a Muslim woman, no one wins. You don't win, she doesn't win, her later husband doesn't win if she finds one. Her brothers don't win, her dad doesn't win, her uncles don't win. Nobody wins, everyone loses. I hope that this is of benefit and helpful. Thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, black patriarchy until extinction of judgment day. Thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.